Welcome to the Co-op Mode, episode 64. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, the Canadian Mark Carabin. How you doing, bud?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, but I realized I didn't put on my snazzy Trophy Room podcast t-shirt I just bought. No. So I'm wearing my company shirt for yogurt. So well, how lame am I?
What am I? I have a Super Mario shirt on, so I'm at least representing video games. But yeah, the Trophy Room shirt is great. I saw the picture today, and I feel like if this wasn't E3 time, this would have been a great like N64 recap. So I'm a little sad that we're not talking about N64, but I'm very excited to talk about E3.
Yeah, I never owned an N64. It'd be a very short discussion. Oh, well, that's perfectly fine. But we are blessed this week to have a new player join the Co-op Couch, and that is Mr. Brock McLaughlin. Brock, why don't you introduce yourself, kind of like what you do and the things you're involved in?
Cool. You're too kind with that lovely intro. I'm Brock McLaughlin. That's my name on everything. I'm into gaming. You can find me. I game at Brockstar Gaming. I've been writing about gaming for years now. And here and there, a little bit more than usual these last few weeks because of E3 and other things like that. But yeah, really happy to be here and talk more about gaming. I really flubbed that intro.
Well,
and you know what?
I'm
fine with it.
I don't think if you at all.
You know what? If you need to do it again, go right ahead. I edit this out and I give Mark all the edit points. So for the video portion. So if you want to do it again, it's all you, man.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I just want people to think I'm very confused with my own life.
That's perfectly fine.
I like it.
We're just, so glad to have a new guest on the show. So from this point on, I'd really like to ask you a couple questions. So people want to know how you got into video games. So we kind of find that by the console that you started with or that really dragged you into the world of gaming. So what was it for you?
Oh, yeah, it was a Super Nintendo for me, for sure. I got that sucker in 1994. And being an only child with an only mom, we only had one game, and it was Super Mario World. And she would just bring me to her work, which at the time was at a gym, and I'd just like hang out in the basement and bring my Super Nintendo and just play it for hours on end. And like she didn't have to get me a babysitter, and she didn't need to like check in on me because I was extremely distracted by the visual screen, which has been pretty much my whole life, being distracted by a virtual screen.
Digital babysitters, man. That's the way to go.
It worked, man. I felt such a sense of joy because it took me like 3 years to beat that game. But man, it was fun. So that was kind of what got me into it for sure.
And so with that, do you have a favorite like franchise or a character? It doesn't have to be with any specific console, but it just could be something that just you really identify with.
I like a lot of games. I am a huge sucker, and it's embarrassing to say it loud, but for Kingdom Hearts, I just love those stupid games. I played every single last one of them except the mobile game through to completion, and I'm not proud of that. I wouldn't recommend it to most people, but that's a game that definitely stands out for me. It's something I just can't get enough of.
Is it possible to give a recap of the story, or
how much time do we have? No,
something that you can follow as a fan.
Not a clue what's going on.
Mark, you would need 350 days over 22 hours and 26 minutes. I think that's what they do, right?
I'm not a big like JRPG fan, but I love Disney, so I've tried every once in a while to like either watch videos or like read some like wiki stuff of like what the hell's going on in these stories, and it's like the craziest shit, and it's like, why is this so complex? I just want to see Mickey Mouse with like some Final Fantasy character and just like doing some funny stuff, and it's like the most complex story ever, and it's just so convoluted, and it's like part of me loves that, but like part of me is just like why? And it's yeah, man, but people love it.
There's clones, there's time
William, just
travel.
the Infinity Mark if you want a less complex story.
Yeah.
I love Disney Infinity. I really miss that game, man.
Me too. I just had an Iron Man. My son was playing with the Disney Infinity Iron Man. I don't know.
This one
was
right
like
here?
literally on the table earlier. That's the one.
Which is now in my house.
He was literally here. Oh no, you stole it.
I stole it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It was such a missed opportunity. Both Lego Dimensions and like any of the Toys to Life games, they should just release a digital only version where everything is unlocked. I mean, it would do so well.
With Infinity on PC, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's so weird. Why wouldn't they do that with consoles? There's money to be had because kids would love that.
I didn't even know that game came out on
Just
PC.
silly.
That is wild to me.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, all those games where it's essentially. It's kind of funny because Mark, I hope you have a console that you will keep that eventually Finn can play on, because that's not going to be in the future, right? I mean, I guess most of the consoles like Xbox One and PS4, I think PS5 and Xbox One or Xbox Series X, they recognize the peripherals now, I think, from that previous gen.
Okay.
Whereas like Xbox 360, you could not get Xbox 360 peripherals like USB things to work on an Xbox One. So it's very weird,
all my
but I think we're good.
Portals. I remember, that was like the problem there. So I switched things over to PS4, and then now I'm kind of back on the Xbox train. And it's so my Toys to Life peripherals are all just like sitting there. But like I loved Disney Infinity so much. Like Mickey and Minnie from that game were my cake toppers at my wedding. So like love that game.
That is
I
awesome.
won a ridiculously. I won it was like a amiibo collector, or a guy that did all the Toys to Life things, and he had a contest, and I won one of the Mickey Mouse like very rare Disney Infinity figures, and I think I sold it for $150.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of a shame, but yeah, I still have a bunch right in front of my TV. I've got all of the characters. I love that aesthetic, and it just works so better, and still looks much better than the Avengers video game.
Yeah.
I'm nodding in agreement there.
Oh, well. Yes.
I hope that companies take a risk again and bring back Toys to Life, because I just think it was such a cool, very too short-lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really think Mario X Rabbids would have been a Toys to Life game if they really tried hard. But yeah, after, what was it, the Starfield game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Starfield?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Starfield, isn't it?
Okay, that game, that was a cool game.
Starlink?
Yeah. Starlink, not Starfield with Bethesda.
Right.
That's with so yeah, that was such a weird game, because the I don't think they put too much faith into the Toys to Life part of that, because it was like so hard to find things, at least here. So I got the physical copy of that game with the R-Wing and like Star Fox and stuff. But then I could and I got it a little bit later, right? So like it was really, really tough to find everything. So I just kind of basically moved that whole game over digital and bought like some of the DLC and that kind of stuff, and like a few other like spaceships and people and whatever. But like, I think I only played it once with the actual R-Wing and like the Joy-Cons in there, like to do the controls. Cause it was just like, it was a complicated kind of process, but like, I kind of liked the idea of being able to like swap the guns out like in real time and see it happen in the game and stuff. Like they were onto something cool, but I think at that point it was like waning so much that they were just like, yeah, we'll produce a few of these little peripherals and stuff, but like, maybe not. So I just expected them on like the end caps of like every single checkout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a shame. And it was probably the best Star Fox game in years. So there we go.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love when stuff like that pops up at the dollar store. It's like so random and weird. Like And that was like the graveyard, the elephant graveyard for so many Toys to Life things. You'd find like, the Halloween special Skylanders from 2 years ago and be at the dollar store and be like, what the hell? It's like weird dude with the giant like pumpkin eyeball. Just yeah. Like the two people that followed Skylander, like Sean Capri now is just being like, yeah, and no one else is like following this at all.
Oh, I was a Skylander dad. My son was so into Skylanders, and it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And that was perfectly geared towards taking as much money away from you as possible. But, oh well. Guys, let's talk about games a little bit, because we're going to talk about E3 the majority of this episode. So we're going to really just pick really quickly what we've been playing last couple weeks. But, it's going to be very short. So, Brock, what have you been playing?
Ratchet and Clank. I finished that one. I loved it. I thought it was really cool. I don't think it was a big step forward in the actual series, but it just looked so damn good that I was just too distracted to notice that it really wasn't doing anything new. And honestly, I just had a lot of fun with it. So that one really stands out to me. And then otherwise, it's been Pokemon Snap. A whole ton of Pokemon Snap, because it's just such a relaxing and chill experience. Nintendo really did the bare minimum with it. Didn't come to they didn't offer anything really, but I just can't put it down. I probably put at least 30 hours into it, and still unlocking things and still seeing things I've never seen. I love it, and I shouldn't, but I love it.
I'm the same way. I am, probably close. Maybe not 30 hours. I'm saying like probably 25 at this point, but like I'm getting there. And there's just something about that game that is very special. But it's like I wasn't even a fan of the first one, and I said that numerous times on the show. Like I don't get it, and now I'm just hopelessly addicted to that dumb little photograph game. It's like whatever. I just give up at this point. I love it.
It is dumb. It is.
Yeah, no Pokemon printer for you, Brock. Did you get the Pokemon printer?
No, that's
Did you get the Pokemon printer?
No.
Okay. Just want to know what the line is.
I was
that was too
embarrassingly looking at those printers the other day again. And I didn't get one.
I don't like editing photos or anything in video games. It's just not for me. So I don't know. That just feels like an extra step I don't want to take.
I don't blame you.
Right, it's a lot of work. I just want to play the game.
Pokemon Snap is not. Yeah. I won't talk about Pokemon Snap for you guys.
I'm just waiting for Todd's head to explode. This is.
Well, what have you been playing then? They're judging us.
Well, I will glom onto your Ratchet and Clank. I just started. I just got it in the mail today. I started playing it, and apparently you're supposed to play on a performance RT mode, which gives you basically 60 frames per second full ray tracing. So that's the way to play it. It's beautiful, looks gorgeous. It's awesome. It is kind of funny this gen. Everybody's struggling to do everything. They do a couple things really well, and they don't do everything fantastic, because quite honestly, high-end PC graphics cards cannot do 4K 60 ray tracing everything. It's just very hard to pull off. So the fact that these systems can even do part of that is amazing. But I'm really liking the game. The DualSense still blows me away. And I was using the 3D Pulse headset. It's a different level of immersion that I just feel like that is next gen gaming to me, that I just so glad they went forward with. And yes, PlayStation is all its problems, but I love the fact that that makes me feel like it's a little bit something extra that I can't get anywhere else. And I hope everybody else takes that on.
Yeah, my brother's been playing that, and I haven't seen it in action yet. I've been wanting to, and I'm gonna go out and see him this weekend, I'm sure, if not sooner, and check out that game in person, because I've seen videos and this and that, but like I don't think it's the same unless you see it in person. So I can't friggin' wait.
The hair, just you look at that, just each little hair, and it's beautiful, and Lombaxes are just beautiful.
It's a beautiful game.
So and Mark, I just wanted,
I've never seen anything so pretty. Like, it's just so beautiful of a game. It blows me away. It's a really one of a kind experience for sure. At this point,
that's amazing.
But you're right, Brock. It doesn't do anything. I haven't gotten to the rifts yet, and I heard the rifts are kind of still a gimmick, but still, it's pretty cool from what I've heard.
It's a gimmick.
Sweet.
Okay. You got to have a couple of those with next gen, right?
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like taking pictures of Pokemon.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh. So, Mark, you got around to playing the Tunic demo.
Yeah, finally. So yeah, this is a brand new demo. They just announced it for E3. So if you've played the demo for PC or at different events and whatever over the last couple of years, this is a different one. It's a different slice of the game, and they kind of created it just for this little experience. And it is just as delightful as I wanted this game to be. Just played it a little bit this morning, so I didn't explore too much, but I found the stick, I found the sword, I found the shield, I found a whole bunch of other fun little items. I've run into multiple enemies, most of which I've killed, a couple of which have killed me. One killed me real bad. Like, I mean, just wiped the floor with me, and it was like, I don't feel like I should have experienced him this early. Maybe I should go find a shield. And I just found that shield. So now I got to go back and try to whoop his ass. But this game's awesome. I'm loving it so far. It looks amazing. I just can't wait for the full thing. And that was one of the things I kind of wanted from E3. So we got the demo, but I kind of like hoped that they'd just be like, hey, PS Tunic's going to be out in a couple weeks. But you know, that game, I think even just playing the demo, I think, you know, take your time, just make it as great as this little slice is. Just do that for the whole game. So I'm excited. And that's really like I've been playing Pokemon Snap. I've been playing the new season of Fortnite. There's aliens now instead of dinosaurs. It's some fun stuff. But you know what, Tunic, I'm so excited about that. I'll leave it at that.
I also have that on. I downloaded it on the Xbox right now. I think I sent you guys a link that they're doing demos. There's like 40 demos now on Xbox. You can just try and play them all. I would say there's nothing big that's like, oh my god, this is like the game to try out. But there is it's slice of life. Some are games that you've played before. Some are new. Tunic is one of those. I played Tunic, a PC demo, so I'm curious to see if it's the same. But it's a short little demo, that one I played. So if it's the same one, that's awesome. But if there's more, I'm excited to play more.
Mm-hmm.
The last game I played was very fun. It's new to Xbox Game Pass. I think it's on PC, also on console. I think cloud as well now. And it's called The Wild at Heart. And the best way to describe this is it looks like Gravity Falls crossed over with Pikmin. And the art style is very storybook. And you basically get these little guys. You throw them at things, they beat things up, they come back to you. They can die, and you get different classes. If that sounds like Pikmin, it's very much like Pikmin. I don't know how else to describe it. It is Pikmin, but it is adorable. So far, there's like no night, like time issues, which is what I hated about Pikmin. I'm like, I'm having a good time. Oh no, you have to hurry back because you might, not make it. So I'm like, there's none of that. This is just a story-based. You do different things. There's tasks you have to do. It's very enjoyable. I really like it. So I've probably put about an hour into it, but there is a weird undercurrent about really heavy drama between you and your dad, who apparently is an alcoholic, and you're running away. And he keeps on having dreams and thinking about it. So there is an undercurrent that's a little darker than Pikmin. I don't think there was an alcoholic father in Pikmin.
You didn't play the sequel, did you?
That is way darker than I thought, given the trailers I've seen. Also, that game's been on my to play list for so long. I really need to do something about that, and I'm probably going to play some tonight because it looks really good. That looks right up my alley.
Literally downloading it right me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so wonderful, and I mean, except for the abusive father. Hopefully, he's not too abusive. Maybe he's just a bad dad, and he just drinks a lot. I don't know. There's
I love how you qualify. I hope he's not too abusive. Like, a little bit abusive is okay. Like, no, just don't be a shitty, abusive person.
Yes, that was implied.
Let's just clarify that. I don't know. I just Yeah, so I might have missed something because I'm looking through screenshots and downloading this right now and being a bad co-host. But like, I just want to put it out there, like, don't be a shitty abusive person.
That's true. And since we're a video podcast, Mark, you can even tell what you're doing now. You can
I know.
hold your
Like, yeah, I
phone.
should.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
For anyone listening, I actually showed my screen and legit was downloading. And you can. Speaking of which, if you are listening and you want to see all of our faces and the shenanigans that we are doing, we do have a YouTube channel, and all of our podcasts are going video. So this is a great time to go like, subscribe. They say slap that like button or whatever the hell they do on YouTube. I'm cool. Shut up.
Slice
If you think our voices, yeah. Oh, slice it. That's what we're doing these days.
Slice that like button.
Subscribe.
like a ninja. Wah! And if you think our voices are sexy, just wait till you get a load of us, I guess.
Yeah, just here I am here.
Oh no, the six pack's coming out.
Yeah, the only reason we had Brock on this show is potentially showing nipple, and we just about got it right there.
It's a little too early yet.
It's okay.
Is that
right.
make it? Is that adult and explicit? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we shall see how the night takes us. If the night takes us there, you're all along for the ride, and that even makes people want to go on YouTube to check this out, guys. So follow along. Yeah. So when we're not playing games with potentially abusive fathers, we've been watching E3, and that's really been a big thing of it. E3 is a little bit different this year. E3 kicked off actually with Game Fest on June 10th, and then essentially wrapped up today with Namco Bandai, I think was the last official event. And yeah, it was a mixed bag of, I would say, almost 10 or 12 events. And if you were not taking notes, you missed a lot. And you probably forgot what happened. So we'll basically be taking you through the ride of E3 this year. There's actually an Xbox follow-up event called the Showcase Extended on June 17th. Then EA Play comes back on the 22nd of July, and Steam Fest is on the 16th of June. So this thing's really extended, but at least we've got the core, press conferences. We got Treehouse. We got lots of Twitch events and just lots of people talking about games. And wow. So just very quickly, what did you guys think of this year? I mean, it was definitely felt more like normal, but it's still a little bit constrained. So what was your overall impressions?
I'm just glad we got it at all. I'm shocked we got as many trailers as we did, honestly. I mean, I didn't expect really anything this year. So just getting a few games that I was like excited about is, all I really needed. I don't need to be sold anything at this point. I'm already all in on next gen, but just knowing that the games are actually coming out this year was a nice bonus and made me, happy I bought the systems when I did. But otherwise, it felt very weird.
Yeah,
like, honestly, it was just weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty much echoing that statement. I'm just happy it was back. It was a lot less. I'm happy it's a lot less spread out than it was last year with like the Summer Games Fest, and that was like, hey, we're gonna have a huge event on a Tuesday, and then a really small event on a Thursday, and then 2 Tuesdays from now we're gonna have an event that we're not going to tell you if it's big or small, and maybe you should tune in for 5 minutes or 5 hours. And it was such a like I understood what they were doing, but I found it very messy. So this year having these events, and like you said, unless you were really keeping notes, even like today, and I tried to follow as much as I could over the weekend and the past week, but it was like, okay, what one happened at Xbox and what was in the Summer Games kickoff, and like, it was hard to keep track of. And I started reading some like recap lists and stuff, and I thought, oh right, they announced that there and then showed it off more later. But like overall, I thought this was a really great show off of like Brock said, like why you should be happy that you own these next gen systems, or if you don't, what you can look forward to if you can find one of these next gen systems. And it's still hard, which is frustrating for anyone that hasn't found one, I'm sure. But my Xbox Series X already gets a ton of love, and it's going to continue to get a ton of attention through the next year or two. So overall, I'm super happy. What about you, Todd? What do you think? What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a great step forward, and it's funny because E3 in a way didn't show up last year. Like the organization ESA just said, "Oh, we gave up." So Jeff came in, filled the spot. I know he tried hard. He had Muppets. He did a lot of things. He tried hard. This year he had Weezer. So I mean, giving him props. He had some weird things on there too. But yeah, I mean, so I think everyone's adapting to this new because previously not everybody did events even. You didn't have that. You basically maybe showed up on a stage of somebody else, or you're probably at the actual show floor and people saw your games. I was a little disappointed that they didn't drop more demos and do like more, almost like, here's our game and here's an audience that can ask questions about the game. More interaction with developers and things like that, because typically it's the writers and the reporters that do that. So I thought that's kind of a missed opportunity. And everybody said, "Well, I'm a media guy. What does that mean for me?" And I'm like, "Well, why didn't they do digital appointments? Do GeForce Now to demo games?" There were so many missed opportunities. I felt like, and I think the ESA actually charged like still a huge premium to even just say you're in E3, which I just think is so silly because, yeah.
That was my biggest question: is why would you pay to be here, not just do your own show like next week? That's what really confuses. Like, I get why PlayStation wasn't here. Why would you pay that upfront cost? Xbox doesn't need to be here at all. They could just do their own fan fest they used to do. That was very confusing for me. They didn't seem to offer anything that they couldn't have just done themselves for way cheaper.
Yeah, I like following along on stuff. I don't think I used any official like E3 channel. Like I followed the Xbox show I watched on Xbox's Twitch channel, Nintendo show I watched on Nintendo's YouTube channel, the Summer Games Fest kickoff I watched on the Game Awards Twitch channel. Like I didn't use E3 channels or anything for any of this. So yeah, you guys are right on. Like what is the point, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, they had Greg Miller and a couple other people at kind of like hosts, but I rarely saw them at anything. So I never felt like they were the cohesive piece that brought everything together. Jeff Keighley also did the same thing, where he had people on and had other things, connective tissue that I kind of felt like that added some value. Like he had Rod Ferguson from Diablo 2 on, talk about. So it's just really weird. And I can see this basically them just saying, we're going to meet in June in a week, and we're not going to call it E3 anymore. We're going to call it something else and just show up at the same, everybody has their place and just have fun. We don't need E3. We don't need to get charged for the presence of using that term, call it something else. And then, yeah, because Sony made a point. We're not paying them six figures just to have their name when we can have our own event and just as many people will show up. So yeah, I think that was weird. But it was cool to see as many people show up. Some people use that time wisely. Some companies use that time for no reason except to really, I think, bore people to death. It was just weird. I mean, Coke Media.
I just wonder if people were invested from last year, and it was just kind of they're bringing the costs over to this year, and just had like nothing to show for it. Because there was definitely some shows that did not need to be there, but they were just trying to fill that time slot with some game footage that probably people didn't care much about. I'm looking at you, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Just kind of
I'm looking at you, Capcom. Oh, Capcom showed up and basically showed.
I didn't watch Capcom, but I watched it on Twitter and know that no one seemed to like that show very much.
Bandai Namco, essentially, because they gave up Elden Ring early, did a focus on the Man of Medan game. I'm like, really? That's what you did? Spent your time on a series that people really don't care that much about? It was all over the place. And the Future Game Show, I will say, I'll eventually check that out. I don't even know what they did. It's just weird. Yeah. Yeah. So,
it was definitely a mixed bag. So everything, like I said, was kind of a mixed bag, but let's break things down. Let's start off with something positive. What was your biggest hype moment over this whole last weekend, whatever it was. Brock, let's start it off with you. What was your biggest E3 / Summer Game Fest hype moment? What was the big one for you?
Oh, that's tough. Probably should have thought about this, but there's so many. I guess if like it comes down to it, Elden Ring looks really cool. That trailer was just cut so well. Most game trailers, I don't think are that great. They're pretty boring. That was done so incredible that I was like, okay, I'm all in. Now it looks like an Xbox 360 game, so I'm like, oh, it's a little rough. This is supposed to be coming out, but other than that, that game looks tight. And there was another one I can't remember, but Elden Ring was like definitely a highlight for me, and
sure.
I guess Halo multiplayer.
Todd, what about you?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do multi-part because I can't stop myself. So I'm going to say, I think a couple, my wow moments or hype moments was, I think a couple of the events really took advantage of doing something special. Devolver Digital did not point once again. Their focus was chili dogs, and their focus was also on Devolver Max Pass Plus, the new era of monetization as a service. They kept on saying it. It was absolutely hilarious because they're making fun of everybody has a service, everybody has a thing, and they just made it fun. And it's talking about like, oh, and this is premium to our service, to the Devolver Max Pass Plus service. And they were eating chili dogs every 2 seconds, which I just found weird. And then you found out that it was all kind of just a dream. And at the end, you actually saw them filming it too, which I just love that they just embrace the medium and have fun with it. And it's been 5 years on this journey of just doing weird and crazy things. Surprisingly, the PC gaming showcase also embraced it as well. It was like watching MST3K, where they're almost like in their own little spaceships and doing things. One girl was in a mech warrior like thing. And it was just like, you know what? They're having fun. The PC showcase is usually a hot mess and nobody cares because it just doesn't feel very unique. But they really embraced it, and I thought they brought the fun. So I will give them kudos for just making the most of making their event interesting, because nobody else really does more than just, here's trailers, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I like that. Now, from a game perspective or a hype moment, I can't deny that finally getting a Metroid game didn't bring my heart with joy. This is by the same team, Metroid Dread. This is by the same team who did Samus Returns. Yeah. And Metroid Dread actually goes back a long time ago as a rumor game. I remember Pierre Snyder and IGN talking about this game was supposed to come out around the same time. I think Metroid Prime 3.
It was
and it finally came out.
Metroid Prime. I think it was Metroid Prime 3 or one of them. There was a note or a poster or something that you could find, I believe, in that game that said just Dread or Metroid Dread, or there was some kind of an Easter egg that you could find, if my memory serves me correctly, that like, this game has been a long time coming. And I don't know if they've been working on this game in some way since then, or they just decided like, you know what, we're going to shoot out this new 2D Metroid game. You know what name we should really use for this? Metroid Dread. Let's go with that one because it'll really, make the fanboys go woohoo. And it totally did. Whether this game's been in development for a year or 12 years, like, it doesn't matter, right? Like we're all like, I'm sitting here and I've got like my Samus like action figure and the Samus amiibo, and I'm all like ready to go. And so I'm just like, Metroid Dread, finally, cool. Yeah, it's been in development for 12 years. And it probably hasn't, but whatever. Woohoo! Yeah,
that was the saddest woohoo I have ever heard.
Woo.
Wow, it's going to make the fanboys go.
When I picture like business meetings, they're very unemotional. They're like, yes, we can make dollars from this, and the fanboys will go woohoo. And they don't get the enthusiastic like woohoo, But yeah, that's it. They have to hire someone as a hype man, and they just come in and they're like, hey, woohoo for us, and the guy's like woohoo, and that's how they do it.
They had to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
They
Every
need a
good
hype
presser
man,
needs a woo
somebody.
guy.
Yeah. They had to do something eventually for me. And that's all I asked Nintendo. Just do something for Todd once in a while. And this was my moment. So I'll take it. And it's funny. They said, this is the first new 2D Metroid in 19 years.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can we all agree that it
No.
doesn't look
No,
amazing?
I agree.
Or is that a touchy
it-
subject?
It looks a little stiff. Or there's something like it looks kind of like a 3DS game.
Yeah, like with all the other Metroid-esque games that have come out in the last 19 years, there's just been so many cleaner, better-looking games than this.
Yeah,
it just looked very, I don't know,
if that's the decision
generic,
to go,
I guess,
3D on a 2D plane, where we've seen so many Metroidvanias take very unique art styles, whether it's retro-esque or hand-drawn or whatever, but we've seen so many of these games that take it in interesting new directions. And it's like, I get what you mean. And I was watching this direct with my wife earlier, and she said the same thing. She was like, it doesn't look awesome. Like, and I was just pumped because it, like, gameplay wise, I think it's going to look great. Like while you're playing it. And I said the same thing about Samus Returns. I did not think that game looked good, but as soon as I had it in my hands, I was like, don't care. It's great. But I'm getting the same kind of vibes as this one. I'm very excited to play it, but and it is, like, top of my woohoo hype moments, which is going to be a thing. I'm putting that on a freaking shirt, like woohoo, with like a like grumpy cat. Or something.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, woohoo.
But yeah, no, I get what you mean. I understand.
The only complaint, because I think they're doing some interesting things. I think it's called dread because you're dreading the fact that there's these monsters, these mechanical robots you can't take on. So you're basically it's almost like survival horror in a way, which I think is a cool element for Metroid. I did not like the armor set. Like I said, it looks like my set of Destiny 2 armor, where it's like I have to get the ragtag stuff because I couldn't get a cool set that I liked. The weird color variation, it doesn't look very cohesive. And I wish they would have got rid of the orange in the middle and just gone all that blue and white. I think it would look so much cooler. But they don't ask me for my design ideas.
Well, there's a few points rewatching it again with my wife just before we started recording. There are a few points where it looks like the suit changes. So I don't know if it's going to be completely customizable or if you're going to get upgrades that change the color and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't seem like you're going to be stuck with that suit. So if you don't like that one, I'm hoping you can just kind of swap it out.
That's cool. Yeah, and it was funny because it said Metroid 5 at the start. And I'm like, what does that mean? Is this the 5th official Metroid game? I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's the 5th in the series in regards to timeline. I just don't know. But yeah.
That was really weird. Especially when they said that 4 isn't right.
So maybe this is
right
essentially is it a sequel to 4?
Is different, and the Prime series is a prequel, I believe, isn't it? To Super Metroid?
I don't remember. Maybe.
So this is because
Samus Returns is the sequel after it's the Game Boy game, right? That's the sequel.
Yeah, so we had Metroid.
To the original
Metroid 2 was on Game Boy. We had
was Fusion the prequel,
Super Metroid,
or was that a remake of something?
Fusion's the last one in the timeline so far. So this is happening after
Okay,
Fusion.
so that'd be 3.
No, Super Metroid would be 3. Then Fusion.
Okay.
Is 4. This is Metroid 5. So the Prime series is happening in the same timeline, but it's kind of Star Wars-esque where the numbers are all messed up and no one cares. But I think the Prime series either takes place before 1 or before Super Metroid. And I'll try to quickly look. Actually, you know what? I don't care because it's Metroid and it's great. But I think that's I was going to try to look it up and like start, but that'll just get me down like a weird Wikipedia rabbit hole. And I'm just not. So yeah, but it is the 5th mainline Metroid game.
And now everybody knows and they're dumber for it.
Yes, exactly. I've successfully killed brain cells. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I just think it's time that we and I said this. It's time to. It's great to see Nintendo make a game that just feels more mature, and it doesn't feel like it's got to be playing for everybody. I'm hoping they will go that way in the future. Not everything has to be for everybody. Play. Take some chances like they did with Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem's not for everybody. It's not for little kids. It's a weird strategy relationship JRPG, and they've made like 85 of those. So at least, well, I'll take one Metroid every decade, apparently.
And I have to point out that, Todd, you tried to come at me on Twitter a little bit when I said we still don't have a new Wave Race. And you said, well, it had been 19 years since a new 2D Metroid game. And I said, yes, but it's been 20 since Wave Race Blue Storm, which was the last frickin' Wave Race game. So I've still been waiting longer. And my fellow Wave Race fans will agree that it's about frickin' time, Nintendo. Come on. Throw us a jet ski and a dolphin.
I heard Nintendo's going to give you a sticker on My Nintendo Rewards with the jet ski.
You know what?
On.
I'd take it at this point. 100%. Like, I would take it. I don't even whatever. Like, just
it's the little things, Mark. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. Anyway, my biggest hype moment. Yeah. I'm not going to get down on the lack of Wave Race. I will reiterate, 100%. Halo Infinite, the multiplayer looks amazing. Metroid Dread, I'm on board. I love it, even though, I wasn't super blown away with the visuals. But one surprise for me that got me very hyped that no one's mentioned so far is Sea of Thieves plus Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm super excited. I love Sea of Thieves. It got me back into the Xbox. I literally bought my Xbox One because of Sea of Thieves. I like last generation, I kind of like went PlayStation first for the first time ever, and like saw Sea of Thieves and was like, Rare plus Pirates, like sign me the hell up. Like, let's get some rum and just have a time. And like, 100%. But I haven't really I played it for a while and then kind of dropped off of it. And this is like just getting me back. I love the first Pirates movie. The rest of them are like whatever, but like still but I love the ride. Like I love Pirates of the Caribbean, like the ride in Disney World. So like one of my all-time classic favorites. And just, I think I was looking for an excuse to get back into to Sea of Thieves. And this is kind of doing it for me. So I've re-downloaded the game. I'm ready to rock. And this is coming out really soon, which I think is like, if this was coming out later, I think my hype level would be like, whoa, and then really drop off. But I think since this is coming out so soon, it's like, yeah, Jack Sparrow, let's go. And I'm ready to go. So that was like a surprisingly weird hype moment for me that I'm excited to get back into that.
I was just wondering, did they borrow the Disney Infinity character model?
Close, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, that was, yeah.
It's really close.
Could they make a single player version where it's like the ship it like drives itself, like it's autonomous? I tried that game and I'm like, I'm trying to do this stuff and I don't really always play with people. I like the idea of it, but when it actually gets down to it, I'm like, driving a ship like that is too complex. You need multiple people to do multiple things. Yeah. No, you can't. So to me, it's like, it's nice, I guess, but I think they need like an idiot mode or something like that for me.
I used to drop in. Yeah.
I haven't played in a couple of years. I'm just happy they keep updating it because people keep to play it. You know, people love it to do play it, and I think it's a great friendship game. If you got a great group of people, then good on you. It just never really vibed with me after.
I used to like. I was so into it at one time that I used to jump in solo and just like take a small ship out and just be like the peaceful weirdo that was just fishing and like helping other people out if they needed it. And like, I'd jump on like other ships and just like help them do some random shit. And it's just like, yeah, just drop me back off and I'm just going to go fishing back on my boat. And like, it's such a weird and like wonderful game. I love it. I can't wait to get back in and like check out some animal pets and stuff. Like, oh man, yeah, I'm excited, man.
Mark,
do it.
Yeah. You're kind of making me want to re-download it. I might do that. Not for the Jack Sparrow. I have zero interest in Jack Sparrow, but it is a really beautiful game to look at, and I have not.
Let's make a pact. Let's make a pact then. I will give it my best if someone invites me, and I will be the swabby, the guy swabbing the decks and getting the mollusks off the side or whatever those things are called. I don't know, Mark, you're from the sea. What are those things called?
like mollusks, barnacles? Yeah, is that
The barnacles. I'll be the barnacle guy.
You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it. They are a bitch to get off
Barnacles.
like every fall.
Okay.
But yeah, I know like Joseph Moran said he's re-downloading this. Like there's going to be a crew going, so I'm really excited to get some people and hit the seas. So it's going to be fun.
Okay, I'll get my pirate head ready. We'll see how this goes. Okay, we're moving on to the next level, Mark. So our next question was, oh,
Before we skip ahead, can I just give a shout out to Outer Worlds 2? That trailer kicked so much ass. It was a big hype up moment for me. I can't believe a sequel's ready for that game. A little worried that they're just going to, I guess, reusing a lot of assets. Maybe this was the DLC that was planned. There was definitely points on that map that weren't ever explored. So I feel like those are just left over that they're now using for the sequel. Bold of them to call this a sequel, but I'm all the way in. I'm stoked. Outer Worlds was so much fun.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest trailers.
Love the shit out of that
aside
game.
from the whole conference, like Devolver that did something really like stupid and weird. Like I thought that was like laugh out loud funny, just making fun of everything and itself. It was great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was so
they got
accurate.
to do it right in the right time too, right in the middle of all these trailers you already saw. You're going to see more trailers and you're going to think of exactly what they said. Guys going in slow motion, looking really cool. And here's a character, you see a silhouette because we haven't finished his model. I mean, just things like that are just so good. And the Outer Worlds, I said Outer Worlds potentially is going to be better than Starfield because that's what Starfield most likely will be. Very similar to that. So I'm like, okay, Starfield, you got your game up by Obsidian because they already beat you to it. Yeah. Love trailers because we got so many of them. And not much gameplay. Surprising. Okay, most meh moment. So Marky Mark, what's your meh moment?
Very short and simple on this one. Steam and mobile. If that's not ringing a bell, go watch the Square Enix showcase.
Oh, yeah, that teaser of here's the remake of all these Final Fantasy games.
I don't know, man. I like mobile. I literally just tweeted out a couple of hours ago about how excited I am for a new Alto's Adventure, Alto's Odyssey spinoff kind of thing coming to Apple Arcade. If you haven't checked those games out, go do it. I talk about Apple Arcade. I talk about mobile games. I talk about that a lot here. But like, there's some things that for me in these conferences was just grinding things to a halt, and that was when they were like showing off something that was like, hey, here's a Guardians of the Galaxy game. It's going to be this. It's going to be a single player. We're going to hopefully fix some of the freaking problems that happen with Avengers, and forget about Avengers because these are the Guardians of the Galaxy. But also, here's a whole bunch of shitty mobile games, and it was just like it just. I don't know. I might have been just tired or something I've seen other people complain and just be like, if I hear Steam and mobile one more time, like, I'm just going to lose it. So I can't be the only one. That was just such a big, bleh. Yeah. What about you guys?
I agree with you 100% there. I was very disappointed by that Starfield trailer. It was just like so lackluster in detail or really anything. It didn't look amazing. It didn't give any kind of sense of the game. It wasn't as lame as like their Elder Scrolls 6 trailer, but it was up there as not being very exciting. And yeah, Outer Worlds 2 stole the show, just being funny and, more self-aware. So that was a big bummer for me. And then, I don't know, there's a lot of kind of bummers. That Guardians game, not really... didn't look very good, especially how they botched the Marvel Avengers game so much. Just the fact that you can only play as Star-Lord, that's a big red flag for me. I'm like, oh, that sucks. You're literally in a in a galaxy full of creatures and wild, other cool members of the team, and you get stuck with Star-Lord. Like, great. That's cool. Of course, Square Enix would just focus on the one dude. And then Nintendo's was kind of a miss for me. It was like a mix of okay and where's the Animal Crossing love, or and then a Mario Party game we've already had.
I'm surprised
like,
that wasn't DLC.
That's the best you can give
like
us.
They just added the multiplayer mode for, was it Mario Party 9, and then they were like, also here's some old maps. And I legitimately, because I was trying to watch a little bit at work, and like I legitimately came in like halfway through that, and I texted my wife, and because she was talking about Mario Party DLC this morning before anything happened. And she was like, that's kind of what I want. And so I texted her. I was like, oh my God, you're getting DLC. And then I saw something on Twitter. I was like, wait, I think I was wrong. Like, this is a full game of old maps that's not DLC for the game that they just updated with multiplayer. Like, what? Why? I know.
There's another $90 for an okay Mario Party game. Mm-hmm. Like the last one was just kind of getting okay, and like now you're like gonna force me to buy another one. Yeah, and Nintendo obviously will, because I will pay it because I'm an idiot. But
she said the same thing. We're like, again, when we were watching this, she was like, so they're gonna it's gonna be a full price. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I don't know if I want that. And then it showed like the pre-order now, and she was like, ooh. I was like, it's not coming out till like fucking October. Like, just wait for a minute, and like, just don't wait for the reviews. Like, pick it up for my birthday in early November. Like, just make the, like, at least make an excuse to buy this game and drop $90 on it. And she was just like, but you can pre-order it now. And I was like, oh my God. And we're going to, like, because we're dumb.
Well, wait until the reviews come out and tell you how it's okay, and then pay your $90 for an okay experience.
IGN gives it a 3, and I'm still like, here you go, he's my money. Thanks. Yeah.
Hope you use your Switch Lite, because you can't use it. Oh, crap. Oh, boy.
At least this one does have button controls.
That's true.
It's going to be strange. I guess there's really no big games coming out this year that we didn't already know about. I mean, Xbox has kind of got to play, but it's like 6 games that are brand new, and PlayStation doesn't really seem to have anything coming out. So it's going to be strange. Like, it's going to be great for, I don't know, probably people like us who just need to catch up on a lot of shit that's just been like piling up. And Game Pass is like a great answer to that. But it is weird that there's not going to be any really big system sellers, I guess you could call them, over the next little while from really anybody. Even Nintendo doesn't have anything that's like
no. There's no next gen seller this fall. Xbox is coming with a game, Halo, which everybody's excited for, but they still didn't put a stake in the ground and say it's this date, 5 months away, which is just weird. They didn't show single player gameplay, which is where they got hoisted last time, which is like, that's where they got to sell it, because the last time they showed a campaign, nobody cared for that campaign. So, it's one of those things. It's like, and then we do have Flight Sim, which is only coming to Series S and X, but those games are not going to be system showcases, because even on high-end, they even said it's going to struggle to even get to 1440p on those systems. So they're not going to be showcases of what we get. And then PlayStation is probably going to have Horizon, Kena, maybe a couple other third-party things, but none of them are going to be this is why you bought a next-gen console. And that was, I think, the biggest is nothing this year from Xbox has really taken advantage of that box yet, and we're not getting anything until 2022. And that, to me, that's the biggest. Okay, then you really didn't have to buy an Xbox Series S or X this year, because there's no games that you need to play it except for Flight Sim or Medium, which is now coming to PS4, which I find very weird, because that was the whole point of Medium, was like, it's the only way you can play it. Now it's coming in that last gen too. So, and that's been the big heart of this. So we're going to get games that take advantage of these systems, but it's going to take the old systems to die. And that was that was a hype moment. 2022, essentially, there's not many Xbox One games coming in 2022. And that made me very happy, because I know everybody says the old systems are holding them back, but guess what? They wouldn't make the new systems if there wasn't a reason to have them, except play a little bit better and faster. So I'm excited, because we're going to get Unreal Engine 5, most like potentially in this, and we've got AMD is finally unlocking some ridiculous new settings in our new consoles, which can't even happen on last gen. So I that's where I'm like, I'm hoping we're getting there. We just didn't see anything to tell us that, because all the games that were shown for 2022, it's all trailers. So it's like, once again, show me the money, not the funny.
I mean, I'm stoked for Flight Simulator. I know I'm going to play it for like 20 minutes and get so frustrated and then instantly delete it because it's just
no,
so
you can
damn
play it
hard.
longer
But I am
to
very
play in
excited to
Top
see what
Gun
that looks
because
like.
you need the need for speed.
Absolutely.
Right. That you got me. You got me there. And I do appreciate that Xbox really is only looking at the next 6 months and not like, here's what's coming in 2023. Because we kind of already know, like we kind of had the roadmap, but those games all seem very far away. So hopefully they prove us wrong and they like come out swinging in the next few years with like Fable, Perfect Dark, a new Splinter Cell, maybe. And
Absolutely.
just some new, fun, exciting games. I forgot that Horizon's actually coming out this year.
I actually
don't
do
believe
because
it.
they've been programming. They even said that we've made this game on a PS4. It just has to be optimized for that system. And because, I mean, that game came out when
Right.
Breath of the Wild did. I mean, it's 4 years to make a game where there are some enhancements, but it doesn't look like it's, changing the game in a way where you couldn't do it. But there's things that's going to look better on PS5. So I could see that being in October. I think they just don't want to say too early. Like when they had Last of Us 2, where they said, "Oh, it's indefinitely delayed," and then 2 months later, and it's coming in a month. So I think they're just holding guns. Plus, they want to have something to talk about because now everybody's already shown their cards. Now Sony can say, "Okay, in August we're gonna have something cool to talk about." So you've already forgotten about E3. Now here's something cool to think about when you're actually going to buy some new games and things coming forward. So it's a different thing. Yeah, that's a meh
For sure. And Xbox must be going real hard this fall with Halo. I mean, they've already spent their marketing budget last year on it when it was in 7-Eleven and everywhere, and then they pulled it back, which was such a bummer. But man, I am really rooting for that game. Just the trailer looks so damn good, and I just want Halo back.
I think the free multiplayer is going to do really, really like a lot of good for that game, like just to get people in. Because like Todd, you kind of nailed it. Like the last story campaign, the last couple of story campaigns, no one's really cared about. So a great way to counter that is just being like, okay, well, if you don't care about the story mode, then you don't have to. Like, you don't have to buy this game. Just free to play. Here's some stuff. There might be probably, I'm guessing, cosmetic DLC or whatever. But like, yeah, you want to play Halo. All your friends are playing Halo. Like, frig it, jump into play Halo. There's no barrier. Like, I think that's such a brilliant move. Like, not even tying it into like Game Pass or something. It's just like straight up free to play. Let's go. So that's a badass move.
I think they have to though, because there hasn't been Halo noise in almost 6 years. And how many other games are doing multiplayer that have captured everyone's minds, that are really excited, have battle royale modes and all these things? And Halo is loved by, sorry guys, a much older generation. It's not loved by this generation. You got to get them off Fortnite. You got to get them off of Apex Legends. You got to get them off of, I don't know, Knockout City. You've got to get them off of, well, now you've got another Call of Duty probably coming up this fall. You've got Battlefield, which I don't know how that game has this chance paying, charging full price for only multiplayer.
And that's what
only.
I was just thinking of. What are they thinking?
Yeah. But Halo did look good. I mean, I'm not good at Halo multiplayer, and I'm hoping they're going to make it noob friendly. And they do have that new mode, which they're talking about. It's kind of like the training area and things like that. I just need to feel good about playing for a while. Make me feel good. Don't make me get headshot 85 times in a row, because that will not make me feel good. But it did look cool in that samurai armor. I'm bound. I want to get samurai armor, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's move on to the next thing. And
so did I have a man moment?
Okay.
Did I have a man moment?
I thought, you said that your man moment was okay, keep going with another one. I thought you
okay, so I'm gonna no. I mean, I can just tell you, Capcom was boring.
Okay.
Was no need to do their event. Square Enix was bland. I actually thought Guardians of the Galaxy was a Ubisoft game for some reason, because I completely forgot it was in the Square Enix event. But yeah, my biggest moment was Starfield, the game that everybody's talking about. They showed us a trailer once again that showed us nothing what this game is going to be. And then they had to go, I think an hour later, then they had interviews and they told us actually what it was about. I'm like, what a wasted opportunity that you have to actually go to an interview or a website to see what this stupid game is about. And they said it's Skyrim in space. And I'm like, well, isn't that what the Outer Worlds is? So I'm just hesitant to really get excited about this game and think it's the coming of Jesus, because I'm sorry, but Bethesda's last couple of big games have been kind of not the best things in the world. Fallout 76 took how long to get good? Fallout 4 was kind of more of the same of Fallout 4. Skyrim was 11 years ago, and they're supposed to be getting a new engine. So I want to be proven that new engine is good, not horrible. And there's a reason why we're going to be doing something cool. Because if we're not flying ships in Starfield, like I said, it's going to feel like the Outer Worlds. So I just want to be proven wrong with that game. But right now it's meh. You had everybody at odds, and then it's coming out in November of next year. I don't even know if I believe that.
Yeah.
We know that they'll just release a buggy game, so it doesn't really matter.
Whether it's good or a mess.
They don't care. They're like, man, we'll fix it. Yeah, we'll fix it 2 years from now. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's like that guy. Was it that's tape, and it's like the leaky barrel, and he just slaps the tape on it, and it's just like, yeah. I feel like that's Bethesda. It's just like the barrel's leaking, but they're still going to be like, yeah, you know what? Slap a early release date on it, and let's fix that later. We'll fix the barrel. Don't worry about it. Everything's great.
As long as your dragon can be Randy Macho Man Savage in a mod, that's all we care about.
Yes.
Oh well. So yeah, why not? I mean,
I'm into it.
Everybody loves mods, and you'll be able to do that in 4K with ray tracing.
He's got Macho Man Randy Savage right there. That is
the original.
amazing.
I love that. I
cannot believe you just pulled that off your shelf. That was fantastic.
Yeah, just pulling all kinds of things off. That's why you should watch the video.
You never know what he's going to pull out next. He may even lie just to get you to watch.
I didn't expect it to be that big.
Madam Web was released, and believe me, Madam Web was finally revealed last episode on Secret Friends Unite. So if you want to see what she looks like, turn in.
Yes. So let's talk about something we thought we'd see, but we didn't see. And we really expected to see this stuff. This isn't like something like Wave Race that I wanted to see, but like never really thought was going to happen. But like for me, either Jedi Fallen Order 2 or I really thought we'd see a little bit more Indiana Jones. The other two ones, the two big standouts for me. What about you guys? Todd, let's start with you this time. Is there something that stood out that you like just really just expected to be there?
Wow, good question. Yeah, I mean, if I think about it, it's really what I put out in Nintendo, my vibes there. I'm like, there's got to be a big game this fall. So what's it going to be? I'm like, it's got to be Mario Kart 9, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, because, and I know people say, why would they do that? Can you keep making money of it? But guess what? Everybody that's already bought Mario Kart 8 is not going to keep buying copies of Mario Kart 8. They just aren't, because they don't need to. But they will buy a copy of Mario Kart 9. So essentially, they could sell an extra 40 million copies. There's a return. There's a diminishing return of just the same game that nobody has cared or gotten back into or whatever.
But for some
I just
reason,
thought that game
Mario
is a no-brainer.
Kart 8 is still like, I think it's number 4 right now on the eShop. Like it's still selling so well. So
yeah, but the attach rate is significantly declining. It used to be like 1-to-1. Now it's like 1 for every 4 or 5 or something like that in that range. So, but you guys will buy a new copy of Mario Kart 9.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep buying Mario Kart 8. So that's what I'm saying. It's just like buying a new Switch. More people will buy a new Switch than more of the same Switches because it's something you don't own. And Nintendo fans are ridiculous. They'll buy 2 copies of Mario Kart 9 or whatever. So I just think it's a lost opportunity. I just think it's them not realizing that it's not hard to please Nintendo fans. Just add a couple new things, call it Ultimate, and call it a day, and people will buy them. So I just thought that was a big miss that they had no big game unless you count Pokemon, which typically they kind of treat separately.
Mm-hmm. Brock, what about you?
Yeah, there was a number of things that stuck out. Cuphead, no DLC, was very, very weird. I just don't know where that game is. Now with the Netflix show coming in 3 months or 2 months, I would expect to hear something. I'm envisioning at this point it's probably being reworked into Cuphead 2 and then relaunching sometime in the future. Netflix is getting into gaming, so maybe they've cut a new deal with Cuphead. Maybe they want to be that like exclusive on their new platform. Who knows? If Netflix really is streaming games, Cuphead could be a good option, especially with the show. Maybe that's where the new Splinter Cell is going to go too. Who knows? And no, I did not expect to see Splinter Cell at this E3 because I'm smarter than that, and I've been disappointed for so long. Okay, but that's a huge one that just seemed missing to me. And then Beyond Good and Evil 2 is just another one that was like, where is that game? And again, I think that one's being completely
it's
either canceled
it's canned
or
because
just
the
being
director
rehauled.
of that game left, who was really behind it. So Michel Ancel, or whatever his name is, the Frenchie.
It was super weird that they were going to go prequel anyways. It just felt really strange, especially when the game ended on such a cliffhanger. And I love that game. I really think they could have done a good job with it. It just felt very, it was a strange choice. So I don't think we're going to probably see that game at all in the future, but maybe, hopefully. But yeah, those are the two like ones that really stood out to me. I'm shocked we didn't see Halo single player. That is kind of also weird. But maybe we'll see that tomorrow.
I would imagine
more on that Xbox sideshow on the. I would hope so. It's coming. Yeah, that's really all that was stood out. Everwild, but that was kind of announced that it was being redone.
I think let's finish things off. We went through some mad moments. We went through some stuff that we didn't see. Is there anything else standing out that's highlights? Maybe not like your biggest hype moment, but like any other highlights for you guys through the weekend, that we saw that's kind of standing out for you guys. Like for me, the big one that wasn't my highest hype moment, but was pretty close. Mario plus Rabbids 2. Like that was such a surprise. I love the first game. That was like a huge moment for me. That was just like a little leaked beforehand, sure, but still seeing it in action and just seeing how good it looked and the humor was like just amazing for me.
I can't wait for that game, man. I love that. That first one was so well done, and it had no right to be that good. So that was definitely.
I'm just disappointed that they didn't put Sam Fisher in that game. Rabbids plus Sam Fisher plus Splinter Cell,
right?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? I really liked Shredder. Looks really cool. The snowboarding game. That looked really fun. That kind of stood out to me. I love snowboarding games, and we haven't really had one in a while. Steep was not what I was expecting. It was took itself far too seriously. I just hope this is a very arcadey snowboarding game, and I'm all the way in. And then another one is I'm just really excited for 12 Minutes too. I'm really glad that we got to see more of that game, and that it's coming so soon because it looks one of a kind experience. And
I heard it's only 12 minutes though. Where's my value for my money?
Hey, you can do a lot in 12 minutes, okay?
Any married man can tell you that.
I got in trouble for cursing a couple of times on this show, and this has gone completely off. So
innuendo, Mark. Innuendo. It's called being intelligent and sexy.
Things. All right, fine.
Yes.
Another one for me was it Replaced? Is it like the pixel art kind of looking? That looks amazing.
Since they didn't want to make The Last Night, remember that game? They showed a couple Xbox games before. It was like that weird, cool pixel noir art. This is like the second coming of that game with like but it's action adventure. It's not just like a side scrolling. It's got gunplay and traversal. I am so excited for that, Mark. That looks so good. Is that coming this fall, or is that like no release date?
Okay. I can't remember if there was a release date on it, so I don't want to say for sure. Not 100% sure.
And speaking of which, that chart we saw of the games that are coming out, it says Gunk 2021. We did not see that game. Yeah, is it really coming this fall?
You know what? We'll reach out maybe to our friends at Zoink and see what's up with that one.
Inquiring minds want to know.
The Gunk.
It
looks great, man. I forgot excited.
About it.
I was surprised that they didn't show it off, but they did mention it. That was the weird thing. It was in that graphic, but like nothing shown. So it was, that's one of those weird E3 mysteries of like, how the hell did that get on the graphic, but like wasn't anywhere.
Yeah, it was a weird change. And it was just like, did I miss that in the conference? I was asking America, I'm like, did I miss it?
I went back and watched the whole thing just because I was trying to find it. Like it was weird.
So weird.
Can we talk about like just the biggest WTF of the whole thing is how is Death Stranding getting a director's cut, guys?
I was wondering
cut him in the first place.
The power of the PS4 did not have enough power to make cardboard boxes. So his director cut is to get those cardboard boxes with the power of the SSD and DualSense.
Yeah, it's a Kojima production. Like that was the whole point of him making this studio, was so like no one was gonna be the director for his, like he was the director, he was in charge. And so just the name of a director's cut, call this the definitive edition or anything other than that. But yeah, you're right, director's cuts usually sounds like someone made him make a choice that he didn't want to make, and this is his true vision for it. And it's like, who the hell's holding you back, dude? Like nobody. You can be as weird as you want to be, and you were. Like
Zack Snyder cut out parts. So now we're getting the Kojima cut.
Oh.
That's see, there you go. Zack Snyder's always getting in there, missing things around. Who knows?
That I'll be skipping that one.
Now you can. You couldn't get the boxes through the doors in the game, so that's why there's no interiors. Now you get the boxes in the doors, so that's the big part. There you go. So you solved it.
Yep.
I thought it was a joke at first.
Yeah.
Bold move.
Thought it was a bold move.
How it plays out, Cotton.
But here we are.
Yes. So a couple of things that stood out to me in Devolver Digital, they had a game called Trek to Yomi. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. This is a side-scrolling a Kurosawa game. It's black and white samurais, looked beautiful, looked gorgeous. Once again, this is Devolver Digital. The guys are eating chili dogs and acting crazy and weird. And then they make some of these games that just don't fit their model, like Fall Guys and things like this. So that game just really stood out to me. If you like Ghost of Tsushima, this feels like the proper Kurosawa samurai game. And I was just like, wow, this is unexpected.
Cool. Yeah, I did hear some chatter about that one. I didn't see the Devolver conference. That's when I still have to go back and watch. But I did hear some people talking about that, just as like they were comparing it to Ghosts and saying like, you know, the Kurosawa, like the black and white mode in that game was like cool, but they didn't quite take it enough, like far enough. And this kind of like went above and beyond what they wanted from that, and just like is doing what that should have been. So yeah, I've heard some hype, but I haven't seen anything from it. So I'm looking forward to diving into what that game's about. Yeah,
it's really neat. Yeah, so check out.
So it's the same team that made Shadow Warrior, though, which
that's surprisingly
that's
surprising.
Worrisome.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
But otherwise, it looks
and then
amazing.
the last game that I thought really, and I've seen this game before, but I did not know if this game was ever going to come out. It's called Atomic Heart. I don't know if you guys saw this. Oh, yeah. This is like a weird Russian, like first-person shooter type of game, but it almost feels like BioShock in a way, and it just feels so different. It has such a different like take on that type of environment that I'm like, wow, this looks cool, and it's coming to Game Pass. So if it's a train wreck, I at least can not pay for it and experience the train wreck. So I'm down.
Game Pass is just, oh man, there was so much stuff that it was just like, I'm happy that Game Pass exists so I can try this, because it was either stuff that wouldn't be on my radar to begin with, or looks kind of weird that I'm not sure if I'd spend money on it. And you can even tell by like some of the trailers, like this is a game that's going to get anything from like a 4 to a 10 on the review scale. Like, and I just don't know where I'd fall within that range. So like, I love Game Pass. It's such a great value and lets me explore so many weird and wonderful little experiences that I probably would have missed. It's and this E3 for me, and especially like Xbox's showcase, and that's why like we're not going to go through like who won, I don't think, but like for me, like Microsoft had such a great showing because of the power of Game Pass and like what that provides. So it was like every single thing, whether it was for me or not for me, it was like, well, even if this is completely outside my norm, like I still might check this out. And like we saw earlier, like I downloaded a game on my phone while Todd was talking about it because it just sounded so weird and it had completely fallen off like under my radar. So yeah, like I love that kind of stuff.
This is the year that Game Pass finally gets the promise that it's been giving us. Game Pass has been a lot of old games. Like, hey, here's 10 Bethesda games you played 5 years ago. Don't really care about that. I want the first party games that we've been promised, and I think we're going to finally get that with Psychonauts, which starts in August, and that's the first one. Then we get Flight Sim, and then we get Halo, and it just from there, and we're going to get the first party games delivering on a regular cadence. They said they want a game a quarter, which when you've got 23 studios, you can do 4 games a year, and then everybody gets 6 years to make a game. That's amazing. And then it's the new games that are coming out to this. You don't have just one new AAA game or AA game maybe once every 3 months. You're getting one every month. So like I said, this is where Game Pass finally fulfills its promise, because to me it felt like Netflix, where it was kind of like, it's a grab bag of stuff. Yeah, you can try stuff to fill your time, but these are must play games. And that is where this is the differentiate. And this is where they are earning your $15 versus before it was just like, here's all the old games and maybe there's something you can find, versus there's probably a banger every month and you would have paid $60 for it versus it was a $10 Game Pass deal or something back in the day. So I think that's the difference. It's finally getting its promise now, which I appreciate. And I think that, to your point, yes, it showed off. And if you own an Xbox, there's very few games you have to buy, but those games you have to buy, I mean, are the biggest games that are in the industry. Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, all those games, you're still going to have to shell out the $70. So, but this means you don't have to pay for Xbox games. You just pay for those games that are on Game Pass.
But you'd be paying anyway if you're on another platform. So
absolutely. Yeah.
It's great.
My goodness. Well, we've got more games coming up, more stuff. I'm assuming Nintendo will have they have their Smash reveal on the 28th. More about the character, who I'm actually happy about the character. Many people probably weren't. We've got EA, like I said, the 22nd. Then we've got a Steam event this week where there's going to be lots of demos and things as well if you're into PC world. So yeah, I mean, and we're going to get more stuff popping up as the summer progresses. And I did see a Doug Bowser appearance out of the blue. He was at the Treehouse.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen Doug Bowser in like 2 years.
Yeah.
I
watched a tiny bit of the Metroid bit, but that's about it.
Well, good deal, everyone. Well, that is it for the show. Before we go, Brock, tell people, what you do and where they can find you on the interwebs.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Brock McLaughlin. I'm Brock McLaughlin on pretty much everything. Sometimes I write. You can find me doing a bunch of freelance stuff. I just post the articles on my Twitter. That's the best place to reach me. During the day, I work in kids entertainment on shows like Paw Patrol. So if you have young kids, you probably know what I mean. And no, I what am I going to say? I'm sad there was no Paw Patrol game revealed at E3. I know we have a movie coming out this year, so big miss, I think. But other than that, that's where I am.
Awesome.
So that's what I do during the day when I'm not playing games or reading.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on, Brock. This has been a pleasure. You've already been on Holocron Chronicles, and we're going to invite you to be on Secret Friends Unite and talk about things that aren't video games, because you have a shelf on your background where, if you guys are watching this right now on the show, I see a Hellboy, I see Batman, I see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You are making me really excited. Well, your shelf is.
Sweet. I'm excited. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Just let my shelf do the talking. You don't need me.
I like it.
Well, awesome. Well, that is it for the show. So, Mark, before we go, tell people where they can find us.
Well, you can find all things Secret Friends Unite over on our shiny new website that we're updating and adding things to all the time. That is secretfriendsunite.com. We just started. We're pushing for more written content over there. And we've started adding some news, some reviews. We're getting some op-ed pieces there. If you'd like to contribute, let us know. Send us a DM or find us on Twitter, and you can find us there at Seeker Friends U, or I'm at _Canardian, and Todd is at Toxtra. Let us know if you have any ideas. We are open to contributors. Of course, I already mentioned you can subscribe and follow along the video podcasts for everything. I think we've done a show of every flavor now, aside from Code 47, and Charlie's going to be getting on that very, very soon. So YouTube, find Secret Friends and help us get to 100 subscribers so we can get that shiny, beautiful custom URL. And of course, you can find the Secret Friends Podcast Network on any podcast service around the globe. And if we missed one, let us know, because I think we're on the Apple, Spotify, Google, all that kind of stuff. But there's a million out there. So if we need to be somewhere, let us know there, because again, that's something we're really trying to get all the shows on all the different networks, and it's a work in progress, but we're getting there. So thanks for having some patience with us. Of course, you can find shirts and more over at our TeePublic store, and we're everywhere. We're getting out there.
Yes, and more to come, and we will promise to wear Secret Friends and Co-op Mode and Holocron swag on future shows, so you'll know what they look like. So that is it for the show. Hopefully everybody had a good time. You were more informed about E3. Hopefully you don't hate me because I made fun of Pokemon Snap. But you know what, folks? Always remember, it's always better to game together.